Hey everyone, in this tutorial I'm going to show you a really easy way to test your Docker images. Not only will this be easy, but it's also going to run extremely fast. So we're going to go ahead and test the Nginx image from the official Docker Hub repository. So to run this image, we do docker run, and we can we can map the port 8080 to 80, and we can hit this locally, and we see this welcome to Nginx. Nginx is just basically a web server, so it's Apache-like tool if you're not familiar with Nginx. So how do we test this? Well, let's go ahead and quit. Um, if you look at our command, the docker run command, all we have to do is change docker to dgauss. When we run that, about a half second later, we get all these validations. Basically, we've tested that the Nginx process is running, that port 80 is listening, that the access and error logs are symlinked to stdout and stderror. We validated that the package is correct, and that the welcome to Nginx message shows up on the website, on the HTTP body. So how does this work? Well, dgauss is part of Gauss, and Gauss is a YAML-based server validation tool. Think of it as a very minimalistic server spec that's based on YAML. So if I do an ls here, I see that there's a gauss.yaml, and in this gauss.yaml I see that it's about 28 lines of YAML to run this verification. So we see the access and the error logs, the packages port, and so on. So this is really all there is to our test suite. You have your test suite YAML, you run dgauss instead of docker run, and you validated your image. Now for the rest of this tutorial, what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete everything. I'm going to start from scratch. I'm going to show how to install Gauss, and I'm also going to show how, even though this YAML file is very simplistic and very easy to write, I'm going to show that you can actually generate this YAML file from the Docker image state. So you're basically going to launch a Docker container and generate this. And I'm going to show some of the helper tools that dgauss provides to make this easy. So let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and delete gauss.yaml. And since Gauss is a self-contained binary, it's really easy to uninstall. So there we go. Gauss is gone. If I do a Gauss version, completely gone. So at this point, if you want to follow along in this tutorial, all you need is Docker installed on your system. So to install dgauss, to install Gauss, you can go to https gauss.rocks install sudo sh. Now, if you don't like the whole curl sh method, there is manual installation instructions that are provided on the Gauss website, which those links are available at the bottom of the in the description of this video. So now that we have Gauss installed, we can validate it, verify it, Gauss version, cool. So now we're going to start writing our tests. To do that, we're going to crack open the Docker file, so we have an idea of kind of what we're testing against, and then we're going to go ahead and start here. So first, we're going to make sure that our directory is empty. There is absolutely nothing in here. If you remember, the way that we ran our Docker image was docker run nginx. So we're just going to change this to dgauss edit. That's it. When we run this, it starts our Docker image as a container. It starts a Docker container, and it puts us in an interactive prompt in that Docker container with Gauss installed in the container. So now we basically have Gauss in this running instance of our image. So from here, I can do a Gauss add file. So I want to add the access log, and I want to add the error log. And what Gauss will do is it'll probe the server or the system and get the current state and basically start generating this YAML file for us. So next up is we're going to go Gauss add package nginx. We're going to do a Gauss add port 80, Gauss add process nginx, and Gauss add http localhost. Now, a thing to keep in mind here is that even though we're mapping port 80 to 8080, Gauss runs from within the container, so we test against port 80. So that's really all there is here. I can do a Gauss validate to test it before I quit from here. I see that it's passed. Now, as soon as I exit out of this shell, I'm going to get this message that says it copied the Gauss YAML from the container to the current directory. And if I look at the Gauss YAML here, I see that it generated this YAML file for me. Now, this is a good start, but I wouldn't just generate a YAML file and use that and only that as my test. So I'd come in here and do some tweaks. So let's take a look at some stuff. For the access and the error log, we just care that they're symlinked. We don't really care what mode they are, what size they are, the owner and group. So let's remove that. We're also not doing any checks on the contents of them, so we can remove that here. For mode, same thing. I mean, for the error log, we do the same thing. We remove the contains. And now for the HTTP check, we can remove the allow insecure and no redirects because we're not doing any 301 redirects or SSL here. For the body, we can say that we want to check for this welcome to Nginx message. So we say welcome to Nginx. And now I can just run it the same way that I ran it before, earlier in the video, and I can see that everything is passed. To show it failing, I'm going to go ahead and do an edit gauss.yaml, and I'm going to say welcome to Apache just to show that. And we run it, and in this case we see that welcome to Apache, that test has failed because, well, our server doesn't say that. So that is like a really quick tutorial on how DGauss works and how Gauss works. For more information, there are links in the description of this video. If you have any comments, any suggestions, any questions, feel free to reach out to me either by opening issues on GitHub on Gauss or any other way. All right, thank you guys. Hope you enjoy this.